especially since, seeing that everybody in this team is on steroids, which means including him.
Responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices.
Boxing pros have started raising serious allegations against Canelo Alvarez ahead of his potential clash with Terence Crawford, accusing him of using steroids. Concerns are mounting over Canelo's sudden muscle growth and his history of failed PED tests. David Benavidez has also joined the conversation, questioning Canelo's confidence and calling him out for continuously avoiding a fight with him. Benavidez pointed out that 5 members of Canelo's team have tested positive for banned substances in the past, claiming the entire camp is tainted. These accusations are casting a shadow over the integrity of the upcoming bout.
Mexican boxing fights of all time, in my opinion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm 100% confident in myself. If Canelo was 100% confident in himself, I don't know why he wouldn't fight me. Especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him. So he never got off
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. How does 5?
You saw De La Hoya
How do 5 people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids?
Right.
You know what I mean? All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
I seen Eddie Reynoso on my fight, so we made a joke. He said like he came to watch me the fight and shit. And then they're like, "Oh, you think he's?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you think Eddie Reynoso's thinking about?" He's like, "Are we gonna fight David Benavidez after seeing this fight?" In his head, Eddie Reynoso's like, "Fuck no, we not fighting him."
Yeah, of course.
Honestly, I don't blame Canelo. It's fucked up because there's a lot of money.
It's not even about the money. It's not about the money.
Yeah, but okay,
100 million. Dude, you kidding me?
The first step when you're a fucking warrior, bro. The only thing you think about is glory. I've never thought about money. I've been smart. I'm negotiating my shit. But it's always a prize, bro. It's always, if I go out there and beat Canelo, bro, I'm a legend. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna live forever in boxing as a legend. That means way more to me than any type of.
Yeah, and I think that separates you too, David. And I admire that shit about you. I was like that at one point.
Yeah.
How much you give me?
Yeah.
and not to just bypass him. Shout out to Morel as well.
Yeah, shout out to that.
Eddie Reynoso's gym is facing intense scrutiny amid accusations that he supplies performance-enhancing substances to fighters under his guidance. Among them is Canelo Alvarez, who has already faced steroid allegations twice in the past. Critics are raising eyebrows as multiple fighters from Reynoso's camp have tested positive for banned substances, casting doubt on the gym's practices. With Canelo now preparing for a major showdown against Terence Crawford, questions are swirling about how he continues to gain muscle mass so quickly, fueling further suspicion around his training environment.
Serious accusations about his gym. And the accusations are that people, or at least the implications are, that he is the one that is providing performance-enhancing drugs or is in some way responsible for the performance-enhancing drugs that are being used by fighters that fought in his gym. Specifically, off the top of my head, you have Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez had popped for clenbuterol 2 times. For Fahim Satur, I'll say that he did it 2 times, even though I think it was for the same fight. But Canelo Alvarez popped dirty for clenbuterol 2 times. You have Luis Nery, who had tested positive, but I think Luis Nery tested positive before he was with Eddie Reynoso. Then you have Ryan Garcia, who popped dirty after he left Eddie Reynoso and went over to Derek James. And then you have Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez popped dirty while he was with Eddie Reynoso, but at the time he was still allowed to fight. You also clearly see that you have an issue with the fight that's coming up with Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, in that you have one guy that tested positive and you have another guy that looks like he's using in order to get up and continue to climb up weight classes. You know, at a certain point in time, and this is something that Rolly Romero had said, certain point in time, your body just doesn't do that. At a certain point in time, your body just doesn't do it. I'm 6'2", 200, and should weigh about 210. Closer to 250, but I should weigh about 210. I'm not gonna get up. If I was 210 now at 50 years old, I'm not at 55 years old. I'm not. The only way I'm going to get up to 260 of muscle.
Observers point out that gaining significant muscle mass naturally in your 30s is incredibly difficult. Yet Canelo Alvarez's current physique looks noticeably larger than before. This dramatic transformation has only added fuel to the speculation, especially given the controversial history of Eddie Reynoso's camp, with multiple past pet allegations linked to the team. Both fans and analysts are now openly questioning whether Canelo's bulked-up frame is the result of hard training, if performance-enhancing drugs are once again influencing the lead-up to a major fight.
For a 30-year-old, right? You remember, your body grows. Men's body can grow in height and length up until you're to the extreme in your 20s. By the time you're 20, your height and all that stuff is there, right? Your height and your length in your mid-20s. You know, by the time you're 29, your musculature is pretty much there. It gets harder to gain and put on muscle after 30. So Canelo Alvarez is about to fight a guy that is going to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Joe Rogan's recent comments about Canelo Alvarez have ignited serious debate in the boxing community. Known for his deep knowledge of physical performance and combat sports, Rogan questioned how Canelo, now in his 30s, has managed to bulk up so quickly. He pointed out that natural muscle growth slows down significantly with age, making such a transformation highly unusual. According to Rogan, this isn't just speculation, it's backed by science. He believes achieving that kind of muscle gain naturally is not just rare, but nearly impossible without some form of assistance. Given Rogan's influence and expertise in elite conditioning, his doubts are being taken seriously across the sport.
Canelo, man, I don't know if he's cheating.
What do you mean?
I feel like Canelo juices. But I'm a Triple G fan, so I'm a say that ahead of time. I just like Triple G.
There's a lot of money on the line, and if I could get away with it, I would do it as well.
Some tainted beefs.
I think, well, he definitely got busted once for something, but it could have been from tainted beef. We don't know. But it also could be that, we should probably leave them alone and let them do whatever they want to do. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight or not? Right? I want to see him juiced up, fighting at 45 years of age, coming in with a full six-pack, lighting people on.
As the Canelo versus Terence Crawford fight approaches, talk of steroid use is intensifying among fans and analysts alike. Many say they wouldn't be surprised if Canelo were found to be using performance-enhancing drugs. The logic is clear. Canelo has access to world-class facilities, top-tier nutritionists, elite medical support, and cutting-edge recovery tools. When a fighter has unlimited resources and a strong drive to stay at the top, the temptation to take shortcuts can become hard to resist. Critics argue that the environment surrounding Canelo not only makes pet use possible, but also allows it to go unchecked without immediate consequences.
What up, everybody? It's your boy MC from MCTV. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo Alvarez is on steroids right now as we speak, and he's going to be fully juiced with something that hasn't even hit the market yet. Think about it. He's pretty much a billionaire. He has access to...
Floyd Mayweather has never shied away from calling out Canelo Alvarez, especially when it comes to the topic of steroids. He's openly stated that too many people in boxing are afraid to talk about it. In Floyd's eyes, there's a clear double standard. Some fighters are heavily scrutinized, while others, like Canelo, are protected because of their fame and marketability. Mayweather believes promoters, networks, and even fans often turn a blind eye simply because Canelo is a big draw. But Floyd refuses to stay silent. He emphasizes that steroid use isn't just cheating, it's dangerous and undermines the integrity of the entire sport.
What we don't talk about is, Canelo. Steroids. They don't talk about that. So we don't know. We really don't know all the fighters he beat. He could have been not clean in a lot of fights.
As the Canelo versus Crawford showdown draws near, the steroid accusations aren't just coming from analysts. Fans from both sides are locked in heated debates. Trading pet allegations, Crawford's supporters question Canelo's sudden size and power, while Canelo's camp throws doubt on Crawford's stamina and physical transformation at a higher weight class. The tension has reached such a boiling point that both fighters agreed to undergo extensive ped testing ahead of the fight. These tests aren't just for the regulators, they're aimed at calming public doubt. The fact that both camps felt compelled to prove their cleanliness highlights the deep trust issues in boxing today. Fans may be fiercely loyal, but they also demand transparency, and the non-stop ped talk has pushed both sides to take action.
Canelo and Crawford are strictly and consistently doing random data testing in order to silence each other's fan base and their critics ahead of their showdown this September. Now, despite this being a normal thing, the gravity of this fight brings in more attention to their test results, partly due to the fact that suspicion regarding both men have been up as of lately. Namely, Crawford's sudden bulk and jump to 168 and his close relationship relationship with Snack and Victor Conti, and of course the recent PED scandals being associated with Team Canelo, as well as him once testing positive for clenbuterol 7 years ago due to contaminated meat. With that said, both men have been doing random testing since June and will undergo strict and consistent random tests up until they finally meet next month. Now it's worth remembering that despite all the recent allegations for Canelo and Crawford, both fighters have been...
Canelo Alvarez wasn't always the dominant powerhouse we see today. Early in his career, he was smaller, faster, and fought more like a natural welterweight. But over time, his transformation has been striking. He's not just moving up in weight, he's overpowering much bigger opponents. This drastic change has sparked growing speculation about how he managed to bulk up so effectively. Critics are questioning whether such physical growth is truly natural, especially at his age and given the toll boxing takes on the body. While some credit elite training and discipline, many remain unconvinced.